right, make sure you have your 0.4 notes, and we're going to start with 0.4a. So unfortunately, we're kind of just a little backwards because last week, I was out of town and we had to wait for computer setup and all that kind of stuff. So some of this is review, but I think it's going to explain kind of why we were doing things on Canvas and you had to go in this certain order or whatever. All right. So remember, you have to write down what's in red and pause the video. Anytime you need to catch up, you can rewind the video. Okay. So 6th grade science will be a self-paced model. Okay. And what this means is that participants take the time that they need, so the time that you need, whether more time or less time, and they set their own goals instead of moving at the pace of the class or the pace of another student. So think about a time, maybe last year in 5th grade or any other times before that, where maybe you were doing a math lesson and you already understood how to do whatever the teacher was teaching you, but you had to sit there and wait patiently for everyone else to catch up. Okay. In self-paced, if you've mastered it, if you've understood the information, then you can go ahead and move on to the next lesson. Or let's think of another example, the opposite of that. Say you were learning a new math concept and you just needed a little bit more help. You needed a little bit more time to understand it, but the rest of the class was ready to move on. So you kind of had to rush through it without totally understanding it. Well, here, if you need more time, you will have that extra time to work with it on the person at your table or to work with me to make sure you understand that information before you move on to the next activity. And as I get to know you and everyone else in the class, I'm going to group you with someone that works at your same pace. So if you need help, you can lean on your table mate to help you. Also, so y'all can do all these labs and fun hands-on activities together. All right, so go ahead and write down what's in red, pause the video if you need to, and move on. Press play so we can continue with this lesson. All right, so even though you'll be working at your own pace when you're working on lessons, we will have a daily routine that we do together. So the first thing you're going to do is your do now, which will probably have a challenge in it, just like we did a challenge last week. And then you're also going to set some goals. So what lessons you need to complete today, what labs you need to complete today, just so you can kind of get in that mindset of what do I need to do today to be successful. Next, you're going to have actually that 30 to 40 minute time to work on your lessons, to work on your vocab, work on your labs, any of that kind of stuff. And then the last about 10 minutes of class is going to be cleanup. Make sure we're putting our binders up, make sure we're cleaning up any labs, wiping off our tables. So then the next class can have a clean space for them to learn. And lastly, we'll start dismissal to your next class. All right, pause the video to write that stuff down. Press play when you're ready to continue. So Canvas and you are now besties. We're going to be using Canvas for a lot of stuff, right? This is how you found this video. This is how you found all the assignments from last week while I was out of town. So this is where you will find instructional videos like the ones that you're doing now. This is where you'll find sometimes practice activities. And this is where you'll find mastery checks, right? This is what the Canvas homepage looks like. You've got my information here, some information about me, the schedule, and some weekly modules, which I'll talk about that in the next slide. So pause the video and write that down. All right, so where do you find the paper that you need? Where do you find the checklist, the notes, the lab documents, Frayer models, teacher, parent? You got a little exposure to this last week when we did the scavenger hunt. It's all on that back table. You can turn around right now and look at that back table. That's where you can find all of the paper that you need. This is where you will find your notes, your checklists, your labs, your Frayer models, and teacher parent. All right, pause the video and write that down and then press play to continue. All right, lastly, where do I find these lessons? Again, this should be review because you should have found this stuff from while I was out of town, but I'm just going to go ahead and review it with you. So in Canvas, you can either click on the weekly module button there that's on the home page, or you can click on the module tab on the left, and that will bring you to your modules. All right, that's it for this video. Go ahead and make sure you've written everything down, and then you can move on to the mastery check.